Right, so today we're going to deep dive into a really wild period of English history.
Buckle up.
Yeah, the English Restoration era.
Yeah. So much going on there.
So on the surface, Ray, it looked like a total blast, like a historical spring break.
A giant party, right?
But I have a feeling there's a lot more to it than just that.
Oh, way more.
So way more to unpack there.
Before we get into the fun stuff, let's just make sure everybody is on the same page.
Sure.
So can you just set the stage for us? What exactly does restoration even mean?
Okay, so restoration refers to the return of the monarchy in England in 1660,
Okay.
after a period of Puritan rule.
Right.
So basically, King Charles II came back,
Okay.
took the throne, and this marked a dramatic shift in, like social and cultural norms.
Okay.
It's a pretty big turning point.
So it's Puritans were in charge and they were no fun allowed.
Well,
And then suddenly it was party time.
they weren't all about no fun,
Right.
but they definitely had a very different worldview than what came after.
Right.
All right, so you're saying there's more to it than just no parties.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what was going on during that Puritan rule that made the Restoration such a big deal?
So you've got to understand that Puritanism was a really powerful force in England.
Okay.
In the mid-1600s.
So-
They were all about serious piety and really strict moral codes.
Okay.
They closed the theaters.
Oh, wow.
They saw them as dens of iniquity,
Yeah.
banned dancing, all sorts of things that they considered frivolous or sinful.
Wow.
So daily life was supposed to be very disciplined and focused on spiritual matters.
Okay, so then when the monarchy came back and Charles II took over, it was like a complete 180.
It was a total cultural earthquake. It's
Yeah.
like someone cranked up the volume on life again.
That's where the spring break analogy comes in, I guess.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just about parties, right?
No, it wasn't just about the parties, although they were pretty epic.
Okay.
It was this total shift in mindset,
Okay.
from austerity to extravagance, from piety to pleasure.
And how did that show up? Like, besides the parties?
No, we see it everywhere, from fashion to literature to theater.
Okay, give me some specifics.
All right, so in fashion, suddenly you have great colors, lavish fabrics,
Okay.
elaborate hairstyles. It's all about showing off and celebrating life.
Makes sense.
And then in literature and theater, you have this explosion of creativity and wit.
Okay.
Writers like John Dryden and Aphra Behn.
They become like the rock stars of their day.
Oh, wow.
Their plays and poems were super popular.
I've heard of Dryden, but Aphra Behn I'm not so familiar with.
Oh, she's amazing.
Okay.
A total trailblazer.
Okay.
She was one of the first women in England
Really?
to make a living as a professional writer.
Wow, in the 1600s. That's incredible.
I know, right?
So what kind of stuff did she write?
She wrote plays, mostly comedies,
Okay.
and they were super popular.
So what were these plays like? Were they just lighthearted fluff, or was there more to them?
They were definitely entertaining,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of depth, too.
Especially when it comes to restoration comedy.
Yeah.
It's full of satire, social
Yeah.
commentary. They were poking fun at the elite and their hypocrisy,
Oh, I see.
using wit and wordplay and kind of double entendres.
So kind of like the sophisticated ancestor of a modern-day roast.
Exactly.
Okay.
They were holding up a mirror to society.
And I bet after years of Puritan rule, people were really ready for that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Audiences loved it.
It was like a release, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't just in the theater.
Oh, okay.
You see this desire to challenge authority and societal norms popping up in politics, too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Big debates about the role of the monarchy, religious tolerance, individual liberty.
So it's like this period of really intense control kind of led to this creative explosion.
It's like a pressure cooker, right?
Yeah.
You keep things bottled up for so long and then boom.
And we see that reflected in the literature, too.
Absolutely.
Give me an example.
Well, take Dryden, for example.
No.
His poem Absalom and Achitophel.
Okay. He uses this biblical allegory to totally skewer the political opponents of King Charles II.
Oh, wow.
It's like a political cartoon, but in verse.
So both Behn and Dryden were really using their writing to, engage with the big questions of their day.
For sure. They weren't just reflecting society. They were actively trying to shape it.
Oh, that's pretty powerful.
And it's a good reminder that art and entertainment can be more than just fun.
Right.
They can be really powerful tools for social commentary.
Even political change.
Absolutely.
So to bring it back to our listener today,
Yeah.
if you're ever feeling stifled or like you're under a ton of pressure,
Or restricted?
yeah, remember the English Restoration.
That's a good point.
It's like this reminder that even after periods of like really intense control,
Creativity always finds a way.
creativity and the human spirit always find a way to burst through.
That's a great way to put it.
So it makes you wonder, what are the constraints that we face today?
Good question.
And how can we be using our voices and our creativity?
Challenge them. To challenge them, just like the writers and the thinkers of the Restoration era did.
Powerful stuff to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap things up.
I think so too.
Thanks so much for this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.